Okay, hey everyone. This is our sixth episode of this podcast. My guest today is Oleg. He's a tech entrepreneur. He's a CEO and founder of Gratio. And Oleg, I think I'll let you go from there. You can give a better introduction, and then we can start with the questions.
Yeah, sure, Danny. Well, thanks, and thanks for the invitation. Thanks for the quick intro here. Once again, hello everybody. My name is Oleg. I'm the co-founder of two amazing sales training platforms. Danny mentioned Gradual.io. This is the learning platform for the salespeople, and also we have another product, Pitch Monster.io. Also sales coaching tool, but this is the sales conversation simulator. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but to give you a little bit of the introduction, our company is funded by the Icebreaker VC, Startup Wise Guys, Google for Startups. We have customers in the US, the UK, Europe, and even Australia. I'm the former salesperson. Overall, 5,000 plus of the meetings and calls made during the salesperson career. Over 1K deals closed in SaaS sales, in website building industry. Also, I've been organizing a couple of the national-wide conferences for the salespeople in Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian, currently live in the United Kingdom, and we've been connected with Danny for quite a while. I'm following his startup story, Narata, as you might know, and I'd say that Danny is one of the founders who is super proactive, and we've did some of the mentoring coaching with him, and that was the pleasure when I got the message from Danny, like, hey, Oleg, wanna jump on the podcast? So always pleasure to speak, and especially with a great co-host today.
Yeah, so Oleg actually helped us get our first sale at Narada. I remember when he told us, "Hey, if you don't get our first sale, we will not have our next call," which actually really motivated my partner Ilya and I, and we actually did it the same day. We made our first sale. So yeah, I totally recommend. Oleg, if you can work with him for sales coaching or use his product, definitely really valuable. Why don't we start with your journey? How did you become an entrepreneur? Was it the calling from the childhood, or did you discover it after you uh, worked at your full-time job as a salesperson? How did that go?
Well, I'd say that the entrepreneur journey, as we call it, started probably in the middle of the high school. So I have my best friend who is the co-founder of our products. His name is Makita. Great guy, great tech mind, also quite a creative fellow. And we've got acquainted in the ninth grade. This is just the start of the high school in Ukrainian system, and we had the New Year Eve that we spent together. That was just, one of the first teenager New Year's Eve when you're without your parents, you're on your own, you can do your own thing, and we've decided after the clock was like that we had the after hours after the 12th, that was the 1st of the January. We decided to order the pizza and to see the movie that we decided to watch was the Social Network. This is the movie, apparently a lot of people have seen it, but if you don't, I strongly recommend this one. This is the movie about the creation of the Facebook, about Mark Zuckerberg, the story of his co-founders, the story of the partners, the university years, and us being people in the high school, that was a fascinating story because this is what we can expect from our university years. But not only that, we've got motivated, we've got excited about the notion to start our own venture, to start our own startup. We had no skills. I was not I didn't know what I was curious mostly about in the business, either to build the product, to start the business, to do the business side, to do the tech side. But we've talked with Makita and I said, okay, let's do the following. Let's try the following. That was kind of experiment for us. We were just a couple of the schoolboys. And let's do the following. Go ahead and learn how to build products, how to code. There are a lot of free resources out there in the market that you can try. You don't have to pay money for this. And I will try to work with a Photoshop, try to build a design, and we decided to start with the mobile applications because the web at that time was something like the big for us that we thought that we need a lot of resources for. So that's why we had our Android phones. Let's try this out. And we were studying, we were learning, I guess, for half of the year. So that was till the end of that school year. And in summer, we spent the whole summer messing around in my crib, in my apartment, in my room. We've ate a lot of pizza. We did our first steps in coding, first steps in designing, and this is how we came up with our first mobile application. And we didn't really even publish it. That was the mobile game which called the Immersion, and was the game just to a time killer game, nothing more special. And from that moment, we are constantly were trying to publish different products. So overall, we did like 3, 4 mobile applications that was solely for the Android. We didn't have the iOS access that at that time. And basically, in the 11th grade, this is the final year as for the high school. This is the first year, the year before you go to university in Ukraine. We go, we went to the jobs. That was our first, let's say, wet defeat. I went to the lead generation, and that was my second acquaintance with sales. The first acquaintance even was before in the ninth grade. I was earning the money for the bike. I went to sell the mobile plans on the street to earn money for a bike, and that was the first time when I practiced how to pitch to people, how to work with their objections, how to work with them when they say, okay, we have another mobile plan, we don't need yours, and I'm trying to overcome this, to handle this. And Makita went to the mentorship to the guy who built the hardware and the software for this hardware for the mobiles, for the application, and how to manage this hardware. And I did the lead gen. And that was the final year of the school. And after the school, we didn't want to continue our entrepreneurship journey. We decided to went for the jobs. He went in the entertainment industry for the mobile applications. He decided to continue with this one. I did the same, but I went to the selling websites and I was a salesperson. And that was my second, third acquaintance, but full-time job right now, being a salesperson. And this is how we got most of our skills. In a couple of the years, he was organizing different products in his agency. I was doing the besides the full-time job, I was doing the sales conferences, public sales trainings, and this is how I got into the sales community, understood their problems, their needs, their demands. He got also Mikita got also learned what it takes to build up the web application, and this is how we met again. And we've met in his neighborhood, and I said, hey, I have a crazy idea about the for a startup, the big commercial product that we about to launch. If we flop, that's great because we can add this one to our CV, to our portfolio, and you will apply for the when you will apply for the next job, you can tell that, hey, I just tried to build a web app. Here's the resources, here's what I did, here's our mistakes. That's your experience. And for me, it also should be our experience. And we, like the two hot hats, decided to leave our jobs and focus at that time on the project. This is our quite I'd say, um, different but at the same time classic way of launching the product. First, you try something, then you go and apply for some kind of the mentorship, then you go for the full time job to acquire to get some of the skills that you need to understand and to get in the community, and then with a set of skills, with a mindset where you're allowed to build something where you know how to build, you know how to sell, you know how to support the customer, you know how to support and build and maintain the product. We combine these skills and we launch our first version of Gradual, of the learning system. At that time, we called it Onboard, because the first version of the Gradual was the product that helped companies to automate the onboarding part of the employee, especially when if it's the salesperson or if it's person who working in the customer support. That was the platform where companies were free to upload their courses, to make the test, and instead of, when you're hiring a lot of people, instead of repeating the same information time over time, you just give them access to one course. You see how people are watching the videos, reading the documents, they do the tests. You see how they acquire the knowledge, and onboard at that time serves as the pair of glasses to see the analytics and see reports, what is going on good and what could be improved during the onboarding part. So you understand how to coach employee. At the same time, you don't spend a lot of resources, your own personal time for the routine actions as delivering the same materials over and over again. So this is the beginning of our journey, and quite a hard but fascinating one, and here we are.
Yeah, so basically what happened is like back in start of high school at ninth grade, you guys watched that movie, got really motivated, started kind
Yeah,
of, yeah, started working with different projects with like a video game, but then still split apart, went to full-time jobs. You went to sales, he went to uh, like software development, but you were still kind of in touch, and then you came back and decided to like screw it, let's just build our own company.
yeah.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the lessons that I could definitely share with others right now, either you are a entrepreneur when you want to start the venture, or you're a current entrepreneur, or somewhere in the future you want to build up the business. Still, you have a road, you have a journey, you have a process. And if you failed in something couple of days ago, that doesn't really mean that you won't be able to build up a great and big company in the matter of next couple of years. So go ahead, apply for the mentorship, grow your mindset, grow your network, get some of the hard skills, soft skills, try again, fail, okay, let's try. This is the continuous process. And we never ever let down the idea to build up the product. Right now, we have the goal to build up the company. We already built a product that people are buying. Now we want to scale it. But at no point in our, because we worked for a couple of years apart, but we've never lost the idea that we want to build a product on our own. And that's great. So it doesn't really matter where you are, how much money you have. You have the access to the resources, to the people, to the investment. Wait for the right time, launch it, and get what you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and are there any maybe things that you can share about maybe mistakes or some things that you would could done differently during that time, maybe between the ninth grade and the start of the company, in that time period, maybe some lessons that you learned?
Yeah, yeah. Look, definitely what is the most valuable part, and most of the startups fixing this problem because of the pivoting. They're changing their product, they're changing their target audience, and the first and most common mistake was and is to find the right problem that you want to resolve. That was our issue as well, because before we got to the product that really solves the pain of our customers, we had ups and downs and different tests and tries for about 1.5 to 2 years. So we launched the first version of our product, Onboard, and that was the product to streamline the onboarding part in the employee journey inside the company. And the notion of that product was the automation. But in fact, the target audience that we were working with, their real issue, their problem is automation. They don't have really time for the onboarding of the employees. That's why onboarding is not sufficient enough. But the real problem, as it turned out, is not only they don't have time to talk with their employees, but they don't really have the time for the content. And guess what we missed on that? We built the product that was hard to sell, that was hard to even to retain the customers. And 80% of the customers that bought our product, they didn't even really touch this one or made some of the great things on the product. And
Yeah.
what's then the idea of building the product if people are not using it or they're churning real fast? And then you try to understand who is really your customer, what they live with, what are their problems, challenges, and motivation and needs, but not the high level ones, but what's really happening inside their company. Then the war started. We had a lot of sales in Ukraine because we got the brand, but the sales were growing not that quick. The war started and we lost 80% of our revenue. We lost 90% of our customers because they were mostly from Ukraine, and we decided to go and conquer the Western world, the UK, US, and other European markets. Because, well, we have more or less great product, people are buying it, why not they will buy it in other countries? And it turned out that in the Western markets, in the US, the UK, our product was not given a value at all, because you can automate the learning with Notion, for example, or with other platforms. You can upload videos there, you can record Loom videos. And what's the idea, what's the value of onboard is that you can and for those platforms you either pay right now money and you don't need to acquire additional product, or you're using them for free. You can record 10 Bloom videos for free, create an account and share this 10 video with your employees and build an onboarding course for them, right? And the great moment that changed our approach to the business was a broad customer discovery. Not we had in our mind and not we think and build a hypothesis on, but to go and really talk with the customers. So we've did a pretty much broad customer discovery, and about 40 companies were involved, and companies of the different size: medium businesses, small businesses, large businesses, private coaches and salespeople themselves, because we understand to whom we are building product to. We want to understand who is our final target audience. That's number one. That was the goal number one. And secondly, to understand what are their real problems, like the real challenges, not what we are trying to invent in our minds. And this is how we came up with the idea that, okay, there are plenty of the areas for the improvement in sales coaching, because companies really struggle with this one. Overall sales coaching and training in 70% of organizations is broken. But we found where companies lose most of the money that they try to invest in sales training and coaching. They lose most of their time, the workforce resources, the money resources. And even though they invest in this, even though they try out something there, they get like literally small results out of it. The outcomes are so small. And this is the part of coaching where people practice the knowledge. Like, you can give
Mhm.
the training could be great, but in the end of the day, people neglect this training, people forget this training, and this is how our brain work. We tend to forget information when we don't use this. They're afraid to use new knowledge with the customers. And look, okay, we find our golden spot, and we understand that, okay, this is something that really is painful for our target audience. And you, if you're launching the startup, you can build like the all-in-one platform. That could be the dream of yours, but in the beginning of your journey you don't have the resources for it. And instead, go ahead and focus on one area that really is the biggest pain for the customer, and just crush it. And this is number one rule, number one lesson: pick the biggest pain the hardest pain that just causes a lot of mess in the organization, and people could not fix it. However they try, however the resources they involve, people could not still fix it and go ahead and crash exactly this point. And this is
Mm.
how we launch our second product. We wanted to launch it as the part of gradual. We wanted to launch as the test to really understand if we did a proper customer discovery or not, and then to make it like the part of the gradual ecosystem. So we launched the AI sales simulator, where people after the training or during the onboarding or at any time on their sales journey could simulate the conversation with the customer. So AI becomes as the customer. You pretend that you're a salesperson, and you go ahead and work the objection speech to the AI. Get the feedback from the AA, and right after you do this practice, AA works right now as the coach. Okay, this is what you can fix. This is what you can improve next time. These are your cliche words. These are your filler words. Change them. These are suggestions how to change them. And these are suggestions how, for example, to open the call, to work with the objection. So companies right now, with the help of this product, they get a real-time coach that could simulate the customer, practice with your people to gain them the confidence, to let them do the mistakes, to understand how to better work with the customer, and right now and after this give them the feedback. Then they go to the calls and they crush them. For the companies, this type of the solution became, I'd say, that was the coaching before and coaching after with the Pitch Monster, because it saved them tons of time. Right now they could, for the imagine the sales team of the hundreds of the thousand employees, you can create one scenario, send to them, let them practice, and then see your conversion rate is growing. So number one lesson: find out the real trouble that companies, however they try, whatever they do, they could not fix. Talk with them, understand their real challenges and pains, understand how do they invest and how do they contribute the resources, and why the what was and why what they're trying is not really working, and then listen to what are the suggestions from the customers, what they want to see in the product, but in the end of the day try to be an innovator that will creatively fix this problem, and this fix could be easily scaled on the company on the scale of 100 employees, 1,000 employees, or 100 of your B2C customers, 1,000 of your B2C customers, and make them love exactly this solution. And this is how I'd say, because we learned this lesson, we've spent thousands and thousands of investor money exactly on those failures and those lessons learned. And right now, 3 months ago, we're starting to succeed with the startup, and our numbers are just growing, growing, and growing. That's the number one lesson to share with you.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Totally makes sense. So basically, do you think you already reached product market fit with the product?
Look, I believe that product market fit starts with two of the events. Event number one, that you need to invest more money in your servers because they're not enough, and your servers are just going crazy because of the amount of people who are using this product. This is the event number one. And second event is when I think ideally you have the 1 million of annual revenue. ARR. This is where you understand that not only your hypothesis worked out, not only you got your first adopters and they love your product, they you have the retention, you even have the referrals. But this milestone, the 1 million, is when you understand you can. Remember I mentioned before, we'll learn how to build the product. Right now we try to learn, we're trying to understand how to build a big and great company. And 1 mil is the milestone when you understand, okay, you're starting a company, a real big company. So I think that we are definitely on our journey to it. We see the road how we will get to the first milestone and the second milestone. right now it's realistic. Right now it's not a dream, it's the set of the actions that we need to do to get it. And yeah, at that moment, I will tell you, we got the product market fit. I'd say right now we have a solution fit and a good fit with our target audience. We found our customers and we know how to help them.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, hope that you guys will reach the 1 million ARR soon and the servers problem where you need to expand them.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, sure.
yeah, so do you want to tell me a little bit more about how you raised your first round? What was the process? I looked at your Crunchbase. As I understand, the lead investor was Google for Startups, or was it some private company? How did that work?
Yeah, our Crunchbase profile is not fulfilled. We're not doing it heavily. Um, I can tell you the journey on how we were getting the money and what were the reasons why we got the money and what at what stage we were. So
Hmm?
we launched our first version of the product that was on board, and because we were doing the pre-sales of the product, we were talking with the different companies, and based on their ideas, their suggestions, we were building the first version of the product. As soon as we launched it on the day first, we got our first paying customers because they were committed before. And this is a great advice for anybody out there who will be launching a new product. Create a small community of people who are interested in your product. You have different platforms right now, Messenger, Slack, Discord, whatever, and show them the roadmap on how you build the product, show your ideas, try to engage with them because it's easily to convert them as your first customers then. And this is how we got our first 5 paying customers, even though half of the product was not working at all. And then I went to my partner at that time in another project. We were doing a digital agency, the agency that were building the websites. I was helping him. This is the guy from London, and he arrived to Kiev for a couple of days to meet with his other partners. He has a lot of projects, and we've met with him as well. And I told him about the project, about the product, about for the first 5 paying customers. And at that time, I noticed that he was asking the questions not in the manner of the friend or as the partner, okay, what's going on, what are your ideas, but mostly like acting like the investor. What are your plans for your customers? How much of the money do you get from them? What are the areas for the upsell? And I got the idea that, hey Alex, would you love to join our company and get as the first investment? So we got our first money. We managed to hire our first employees with this money to make the product better, to improve some of the parts of the product. That was the our first investment, our first angel. And right till this moment, I really appreciate the thoughts and ideas of this person because we connect from time to time, bi-weekly, once per month, to exchange some of the ideas. Because he's the entrepreneur, he's not the guy who is the superstar out there and could give advice that okay, go and fly to the moon or shoot for the stars, go to Mars, whatever. These are some of the great and actionable advice that could be applicable today and tomorrow and can help you to get 3 more customers, 5 more customers, to scale, to experiment. He is the guy who is in the trenches, and that's great. So when you will be building the close network for your businesses, for sure, find the superstar mentor, find the mentor who is in the trenches as like you, but couple of steps ahead of you, because this person could give you a bunch of actionable advice because they made some of the mistakes and failures and also they succeeded in some of the parts a couple of days ago and they could instantly share. The superstar mentors for the motivation, for the big mind, for the big mindset to think big. This is great. So this is our first investor. Then we got to the acceleration program inside of Wise Guys. We had our product developing. We have had more and more customers. So the revenue was growing. At that time, we were at 1.5K MRR. and we got to the site of Wise Guys, one of the hottest accelerator in Europe. Great people, great networking, great mentorship. Especially for people who will be considering different programs. Their accelerator is super focused on business development and the investor relations, on how to find the investor, how to pitch to them, especially when you're an early stage company. And they're also great in the post acceleration support. Whatever you need help, fix the financial problem, find the right person, connect with the right person, they could easily help you with this. Also, a good idea here that when you will be deciding to which accelerator if you want to go, try to understand what is their unique value prop. At that time, that value prop was applicable for us, and we were growing during the acceleration program. Other accelerators, there are a great bunch of the accelerators, YC 500 startups, they have their own unique values. And you need to check them out and see, okay, is that something that is applicable for my current stage of the company? Or not, or it could be something for the future. That's a great idea as well. And this is how we got our investor. Then at that time we had an advisor, a great guy from Pipedrive, one of the biggest growing CRMs in the world. He's the ex Pipedrive guy, and he right now has his own startup. And we decided to go with him, his advisory, because he had the journey, he had a broad network of the people that also could help us, and he got acquainted with our leading investor. And the leading investor is the Icebreaker VC. This is one of the best performing VCs in Scandinavian countries and Baltic countries as well for the early stage companies. What really, really, what I really admire in them, that their founders is the former startup founders, and they know what startup journey takes, and they know the struggles, they know the formula and the patterns, how to get from those struggles to the moment when you're starting to win a lot. And it helped us as well. And yeah, later we got also the to the acceleration of the Google for Startups. We got the money from them. We got the mentorship and the network and support of the Google products. So that was the journey of our investments. You see different stages, different reasons why we were raising the money. And another mistake that I wanted to share with you, and this is how we lost a lot of money, that was the hot hat hiring. We got the idea that people that you hire, you need to hire great people, great breed, great talents. They will help you to build a product. They will help to turn your not good performing product to the good performing product. They will help you to get from 0, let's say, to 1 or to 10. And it turned out that we decided to go with the hiring focus on acquisition. That means the marketing people and the sales people. But because of the product, the war started, and we got our big investment in the first couple of days of the war. And remember, I told you that we decided to go to the UK and the US and try our fortune there, because we saw that if we more or less succeeded in Ukraine, that the same story will repeat itself. So we hired people in the marketing, we hired people in sales, we were spending a lot of money, and the outcomes were close to 0. Because when you don't have a good product, people who are responsible for the acquisition can bring the leads, can bring the prospect, can generate the meetings, because they could build up the marketing, banners, good promotional, good advertising placements, because they're talent. At the end of the day, we hired people who are not juniors, who were expensive, and and they know what they need to do to get the leads. We were get the leads, our numbers in terms of leads were growing. Our numbers in terms of sales were not growing. We had the flat results for half of the year. And the reason was because of the product was weak. It hadn't any value in it for those companies. Then after the customer discovery, after first versions of the pitch monster, when we got to our ideal product right now, We even don't have we are not investing right now money in the advertisement and all. Our marketing budgets are close to couple of hundred of dollars per month just because we invest in the content, and the content is bringing us a lot of leads. And because our product is great right now, it carries a lot of value for the customer. People are buying for hundreds of bucks after first call, for the 1.5K per month, for a couple of K per month. This is where we could hire these people at this moment, these talent acquisition people at this moment, not wasting a lot of money, and start drastically growing right now. At that time, if you will get me to 1.5 year, if you transfer me to 1.5 year before, when we had a lot of money in our bank account, the investment just hit our bank message. uh, I would hire more people to the product. I will hire more developers. Me as the founder, I will continue do the marketing and the sales part. And when at the moment when I will understand that, okay, people are buying product easily, we're not struggling a lot to get the customer, we're not struggling a lot to retain a customer, because every sales at that time was more like a magic, just because we were super persuasive and we were pushing to the max.
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, when you're seeing that customers love your product and they could recommend product to others, hire marketers, hire more salespeople, scale what you have, and you will see beautiful results without wasting a lot of money. That's the second mistake and the second biggest lesson learned during this startup journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that totally makes sense, and thanks a lot for sharing. It's valuable information you cannot just read in the books, and if you either have to experience this yourselves, or you have to learn it from someone. So that's really valuable. Are there any other things that you would make differently when it comes to uh, the process of fundraising? Not just how you spend money that you raise, but the process itself, maybe valuations, maybe how much equity you give out to an investor or anything like that.
Yeah, sure. I would also add to the previous idea that, yeah, you could read tons of books, you can speak to tons of people. In the end of the day, don't take their information just for granted. Because when you read the book and it says, okay, go ahead and investigate your customers, do the customer discovery, this is the set of questions you need to ask. You're like, yeah, okay, I got this understanding now, I can go ahead. People who already walked your journey, who already had your journey, who get some of the insights, for example, those insights that we sharing today, and those insights that you're getting from other speakers, don't take them for granted. For sure, you should experience it on them on yourself, but try to listen to the people. That's okay, because in the beginning of the journey, I also had the notion that I had my vision, I have my vision, I have my skills, and that's enough to build and product to sell. And that's this is not really how the world works. There are a lot of smart people who could give you an advice, superstars and people who are in the trenches, like both of you right now sitting here. Listen to them, and when you listen to them, try to ask leading questions. Okay, how you did this? What was the failures? Not just give me that advice and that's it. Try to understand what was the reason. How did they came up with this insight? What was the ups and downs? What was the steps? How did they get to this insight? What was working? What was not? When you have a clear picture, go ahead and test on yourself. In most cases, it works. In most cases, it works. Most of the advice and most of the great decisions that we made were not made randomly, were made after the mentoring and coaching sessions, and those sessions were deep. Not like you go ahead on Twitter or X right now and you read the post from guy, okay, you want to be rich? Follow these 5 steps. No, It doesn't really matter how many of the Twitter posts you will read. Go ahead and find meaningful and deep mentoring and coaching sessions. You will grow then 2x, 5x. Now, getting back to the question of the investment. Um, Number one goal for any of the startup in any kind of the investment strategy, because there are different approaches. We had our own approach. There are 10 different startups who had another approach. But the number one idea, the number one goal for the founders is to accumulate on their side or to save on their side as much equity as you want. For example, after round A, you set the goal that you want to concentrate, say, 70, 60, 50, 20, 10. You have the certain amount of you need to understand your certain amount of equity you want to save. And based on this, you understand your financial plans, you understand your requests on how and who you want to hire and how much money you need to take. You're building up your the investment strategy. In our journey, we were mostly like the money chasers, and I'll explain what I mean. For example, um, we had our first 5 customers. If we will not fundraise money right now, we will be dead.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be other approach as well. You could not fundraise this investment. You could not take this money. Go ahead and build like the agency product in your startup. For example, you are doing the fintech startup. Go ahead and launch a small agency based on your startup where you will consult people in terms of their financials. You will have with their financial system. In our case, for example, that was the learning of the salespeople. We could easily sell our hours while we are building the product, sell our hours of people who are analyzing the CRM and other tools of the salespeople, and give the list give the list to the team leaders on what should be coached among their team. What are the areas to improve in their team? What are personal requests from this salesperson, and another salesperson? And we could easily sell this instead of raising the money, instead of giving away the equity. Then accelerators. You need to understand, okay, when you go to accelerators, some of them are getting the equity right now when they're investing you. Then others are doing the convertible notes, whatever. Maybe you will go to accelerator and it will bring you a lot of growth and a lot of will get you a lot of tremendous value. But at the same time, accelerators is the network of the mentors and the network of the investors. Could you bring this on your own? Maybe. If it's aligned with your investment strategy, aligned with your goals, go ahead and do it on your own. So I'd say, and also in future, we fundraise the pre-seed round. Would we need to fundraise seeds round A and others, or do the bridge round? Maybe, because we want to have money and we want to invest in things that are working or not working. We fundraised our first pre-seed because we thought if we'll get a lot of money, we'll double down our revenue. We'll grow 5x because we can hire a lot of people. But we turned out wrong because we needed to maybe fundraise less or fundraise the same amount of money and invest in product. So for sure, the fundraising investment should be decided on what are your plans and what are your goals. But the number one idea here is to give away as less equity as possible during your journey, but at the same time to get maximum results. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow I will wake up and say, we're getting a lot of money right now. We have great customers. Let's bootstrap this thing for another 5 years. We don't need to fundraise. If we fundraise, nothing will drastically change. I would rather go and fundraise 20 mil after a couple of the years instead of giving away 10 more percent of equity, 15 more percent of equity right now. Because, for example, I can see how we get to those financial results that we would need to fundraise 20. Maybe it will be for half a year loan. Maybe half a year is great for our competitors to chase us. Maybe not. So go ahead, think about this. Go ahead and talk with people. I'm also open to connect with somebody on the call and share our journey and the mistakes. But in the end of the day, decide what's the best option for you and try to give away as less equity as possible. But think about speed and think about the not the speed, even the momentum. If you get the money, could
Mm-hmm.
you invest this money in the momentum or not? Or you just invest in this money as the money in the money hole, hiring, spending, not getting any of the results in the end, and you spend money on nothing, on the experiments and a lot of unrational things and you gave away that part of your company. That's up for you to decide.
Yeah, yeah, so that again really makes sense. One other question I would like to ask you is since you are really into sales, you know a lot. I'm really curious how that B2B sales process might work for you, or maybe something you can share when it comes to different stakeholders, when you have like C-level people, when you have middle managers, maybe individual contributors, how this maybe politics of a company you're selling to affects your sales process, how long the cycle might take, and maybe something along those lines that you can share.
Yeah, sure. Well, Danny, these are super broad questions. Number one advice here is to read a beautiful book that was written by the VP of sales of Salesforce. And this is the guy who was scaling the Salesforce. Right now, he is the consulting agency, and the book is called Predictable Revenue because it opens up about a lot and answers a lot of questions about B2B sales. I would say the basics, the fundamentals of the B2B sales. Any person that works with the sales, works with the companies, or building up the B2B product, this is one of the essential books that they need to read because in most of the journeys, especially on the early stage, founder is the number one salesperson and will be before you understand that you can easily scale the process. So this is how it works. Now, so this is the book, The Predictable Revenue here. Now, getting back to the idea, what also could be good for the B2B sales, the first hire should be the lead gen person. We call them SDRs, BDRs, whatever. This is the person who finds the lead and finds the prospect and bring this prospect on the meeting with you. The first hire in the startup for you as the founder and as you as the salesperson should be the lead gen person. If you're building the B2B product, this person will comply the set of the prospects, your target audience, and the goal of this person is to bring you the meetings, the demos, the presentations. Then you start to sell. Why not hire a salesperson that will close the deals? Because it's a fairy tale. In the startup, salesperson could not sell unless your product is easy to sell. Only founder can do this. In our journey, we hired 3 salespeople. I was selling the product. I managed to do it. We get some of the couple of $100s of the MRR on regular basis. Then I'm like, why not? Why not a salesperson could do this? And I put the salesperson in my shoes. 0 results. Then the same. I was doing the sales and was converting, and then decided, okay, I should I should invest my time in other areas, in marketing, for example, in product building more, or in relations with investors. I should hire a salesperson. Guess what? Same result. Story time, same result. When I hired the lead gen people, it's easier for me to get more meetings without jeopardizing my own schedule and the outcomes are better because I'm still the salesperson, I can sell. But right now, because our product is becoming easily to sell, in a couple of months I will be able to hire a salesperson, tell him what I exactly do to sell this product. He could add his own natural abilities of the sales guy, and the product will be easily to sell, because right now even people are recommending other people to buy our product or getting referrals. Now coming to the B2B. B2B is the long-term game where you could definitely spirit a lot of emotions on the first meetings, try to energize your potential buyers, your potential customers. But in the end of the day, number one B2B advice that I could share with anybody is your product need to bring the outcomes for the companies. This is not emotional outcomes. For example, when you buy a chocolate milk, you could drink this chocolate milk. You go to McDonald's and buy the milkshake. Let's put this example. You could drink this milkshake and that's it. You got the emotions. You got some kind of the good taste. You had a good time. That was great, and that's why in some point of time you'll go back and buy more milkshake. This is the B2C sales.
Yep.
Emotions, great time. Yeah, maybe some of the outcomes, but in the end of the day, this is how it works. In the B2B sales, only two outcomes really matters of your product that you sell. Number one, this is the time, and secondly, this is the money. If I come to the company and tell them how great my product is, but at the same time they understand that to use this product they would need to hire more people or create another process, or it would be the same for them in terms of the money in terms of the time commitment, they will not buy this product. The same with the money. If I come to the company and tell them how great my product, I have a tremendous UX. We hired one of the most expensive guys in the UX area and UI area, and the design is great. We have tons of animations. Your people will love to use this product. But if in the end of the month, in the end of the quarter, in the end of the year, they will not see pluses, they will not see extra, they will not see growth, they will not see charts that are going up by using our product, guess what? They will not buy this product in for the second year, or they will not even consider to buy your product, because people in companies are not dumb. They're smart. They know how to invest their money. And when you understand that your product fix either of those or two problems, but it drastically affects the processes inside your company, and it's really to live easier with your product than without your product, that your product is not the vitamin, but that's the game changer, then the B2B sales will do a great performance. So number one advice, imagine that your product is the car, and the what is going on in your company is another car. If your car allows company to get from point A to point B faster or cheaper, or earn more money as the result of this journey, companies will buy your car. If not, they will stay with the same car, or they will go to your comparison and buy their car. This is the B2B. So number one, the first hire is the lead gen person. Secondly, um, especially when you did a couple of dozens of sales, for example 5-10 sales, depends on your average check, then hire lead gen person. You will get more meetings, but still you as the salesperson, number one salesperson, you'll get more money and more outcomes. Hire a salesperson, a closer, only when you understand that your product is more or less easy to sell, and you're not doing as the once at a time magic. And the third advice here, but the number one advice, when you especially build a B2B product, when you go to the companies, you need to understand that companies should get from point A to point B, whether money or the time, faster with your product and with less resources invested. That's the fundamentals of the B2B.
Yeah, yeah.
Another I will finish this one. Read another great book, which is called The Gap Selling. Um, this book really gives you the understanding on how to build the how to sell products today, because if yesterday it was good, that was not even allowed, that was enough to sell the product because product had a tremendous not a tremendous product had features. All in all, we didn't had the variety of hundreds of products yesterday, but right now there are thousands of products. There is no like the niche where you don't find the competitor at all. And this book, Gap Selling, teaches you on how to teach and how to educate your customer to use the product. And customer choice right now will rely on the companies or products that help them not only to get this product in their ecosystem, but to get maximum out of this product. So you're not only the salesman, right now you're even a product coach. You need to build a skill of the coach that can help to use your product better to get the customer success faster.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. All right. Maybe the last point I wanted to ask you is maybe any other advice or experience that you want to share that you haven't mentioned in your journey that might be very important or valuable to first-time founders or anyone who's trying to start his own thing today.
Um, I will tell that most founders are missing. First time founders, even the first time founders, and not only founders, overall people, they're missing heavily on network, on building up the right network. And I'll tell right now to your audience that you are the example of the first time founder, a young first time founder who is doing the right job with the network. So during today's podcast, we mentioned a lot of times that you need in early stages to do the mentorship, to find different levels of the mentors, trenches mentors, superstar mentors. Um, uh, Go to accelerators if you need, and you know, because network would in the end of the day could bring your customers, investors, great people that will affect your journey, and could even fix a lot of your could help you to fix a lot of troubles, and could really the network is the only one thing that can do 10x, because we all believe in the overnight success. We all wish overnight success, but that's not a reality, or that's a reality in 0.0001% of cases when you accidentally build the product and it skyrocket to the millions the day after. But the truth is that you have the mindset, you have your own skill set, and networking is what will help you to grow them. And there is the cool phrase, I don't remember who exactly said this. The product and the startup is the reflection of the mindset of the founder. So when you start, it's okay to be small, it's okay to do the step by step, but you would need to talk and build relations with the people who are who had your journey, who are steps ahead from you, and who could tell you how to get to there, and extend your mindset and help you to fix the troubles, or avoid them even, but sharing their experience. And the networking is the only thing that will last for you for your whole life, because you can build 10 products, you can switch different areas, but in the end of the day, if you don't have the network, you will start from zero each time. This is what I right now focusing on, because look, for example, I will decide to launch another startup. And let's say I don't have a good network for that niche or good people that could help me in that niche or whatever. And I will start with zero and grinding and struggling a lot. You can avoid that by having the right people. You can launch with the right people. You can do whatever with the right people. So that's the last advice for today.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree about the network. Yeah, I mean, that was great. Thank you, Oleg, for everything that you shared. I'm 100% sure it will be valuable for many people. So yeah, it was a pleasure to having you on, and thank you.
Thanks for it, Danny. Thanks for the invitation. I hope that some of the thoughts that we've generated with you today will be helpful, will help to earn more money, to earn more, to get more relationship with the different great people. And look, never give up, ship, sell, create, be a creator. That's number one, I guess. Uh, one of the most meaningful parts of our existence to create. So, and be brave and also stay hungry. As Steve Jobs said, stay hungry, try to achieve more and more, even if you are at the point of success. Just go ahead and get more.
Yeah, perfect ending. Thank you,
Sure.
Oleg.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.